All right, guys, welcome back to the Just Hoops podcast. Today we got Rob back with us, and we got Josh. And yeah, what about to start off? Anybody want to just like vent about anything going on? Like,
No.
no, you got nothing.
Kentucky basketball's looking amazing right now.
I hate COVID and all the missed games that are going on in NBA and college basketball. I think it's unfortunate. I just wish it wasn't here.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that one. But yeah, I don't have anything really. I was gonna say COVID too, but yeah, that just to start off a little bit. But today we decided to talk about the NBA draft a little bit. So Rob's a big college basketball fan. Josh has been watching a lot of college. I've been like dabbling a little bit, but we decided to talk draft guys, and we got one lottery guy, one first rounder, and then in my notes I called it a wild card guy, like a guy that could get into the first round, but probably a second round pick or just somebody that we think that could do good at the next level. So to start off, who wants their first lottery guy?
You got it. Big boy.
I got it. All right, bet. So I went with Chet Holger. He's probably the most unique player in the draft. I love his game. He's a 7-footer. He looks really skinny, but in the college games, he's strong. He's in the post, actually making moves. He's tremendously skilled. He's an awesome athlete for his size. He's a versatile defender, like could honestly guard 1 through 5, and he showed it in the U19s. He's an awesome shot blocker. He's averaging 3.7 blocks per game with only 2 personal fouls per game, which is kind of insane. His feel and IQ though overall, like just how he operates on the floor, he knows where to be, what to do. He knows when to rim run, when to be the trail, when to find Timmy in the post, when to move it to the next guy, when to take it himself. He just has that elite understanding of the game, and I think that that'll help him a ton to translate. He puts himself in just positions to be successful, and then overall his skill set, he's a 3-level scorer. He has a good post game. He's a big time shooter for his size, and he can put the ball on the ground and make plays off the bounce. So I just can't think of any true comparison because of how unique his game is, but I would say like a Dirk, but like kind of like a KP, and I don't know.
The only thing with him is like I feel he'll definitely be a very, very good complementary piece to a team. I just don't see him being as like a face of it. I think I see him as like a Rudy Gobert type guy with a little bit more skill on the offensive end, just handling the ball. Like you'll be able to get it in the post to him, and he'll be able to make plays for other people. I just don't see him being able to, at least in the first few years, I don't see him being able to make plays for himself.
I think he'll be a 1B. I think like especially like if you look at the lottery teams like Houston and Detroit, if you pair him with Jalen Green or
Cade.
Cade, it's like you have these two elite guards. Like Cade just keeps looking better, and then Josh Green is just he's like an elite scorer, and then you could add a Chet around them, like somebody that could score at all 3 levels while also a playmaker. Like if he ends up on one of those teams, that could be a big time combo.
Yeah, I think he's definitely a guy that you're drafting for the potential. I think he comes in, and I think his rookie year, he'll have good numbers, but I don't think he's gonna because he'll have a lot of volume. But I don't think he's an instant like stud. I think that you're drafting him for him to develop into something special, and you're drafting him based off how unique he is and how no one has ever really seen a player like him in the league and what he could potentially do. And I think that's what drives him way up the board, because it's not, he has good numbers in college, but it's not like if you saw those numbers, you wouldn't be like, oh, that's a top 3 pick. But it's that all that untapped potential he has, and just how much better he's even gotten since like his junior year of high school to now is really crazy. Because like his junior year of high school, he could shoot the 3, but it had to be uncontested. Like he had a very slow release. Like now his release is getting quicker. Like he gets a lot of good rotation on the ball. So I think he's going to be a really special player.
To wrap up with him, I'm going to just say stats real quick. So it's 16.7 points per game. He's only averaging zero point 0.7 assists per game, 6 rebounds per game, 3.7 blocks. He's shooting 70 from the field and then 36.4 from three.
I didn't know he was scoring that much.
He's doing it, but that's
They've been scoring like 120 a game though since they got into conference
Since
play.
conference play, yeah.
Their strength of schedule on Kim Pong is like that. It's you gotta take that with a grain of salt. But
Yeah.
and I guess like in the bigger games, like it gets it's small sample size because Duke's only played 5 quad one games and they're 3-2 in those. But he played well against Duke, but I think Paulo Banchero
He
had
stole
better
the
games.
show.
Yeah, and against Alabama, I think that was just a bad matchup for Chet. Like the Alabama plays essentially 4 guards and 1 center, and they have Drew Timme, and Timme can't guard the outside, so Chet was guarding a really a small shooting guard. Like it just wasn't a good matchup for him.
That's I just can't get over how unique he is. But we'll get on to the next guy. Whoever wants to go.
I'll go. So I was kind of looking for a guy that's going to push a team to like a non-playoff team into a playoff spot. But then I saw Jaden Ivey, and I just love his game. Like I feel like he is, in my eyes right now, the best player in this draft. That's in my eyes, from what I've seen. At least in college. Upside wise, I don't know about that, but his game is like right now he can't shoot the ball very well. He struggles from that, but everything else is like top tier. He can guard 1 through 3. He's a very, very good defender, and offensively, he's a freak athlete. He's going to get down to the rim and he makes the right plays for his teammates. I see him kind of as he reminds me a little bit of DeJounte Murray, but not really. Like he won't be a point guard. That's the not really part. Kind of a little bit of John Moran in his game too. But he's just a freak athlete on the offensive end. But I really what I feel like will really push him in the NBA will be his defensive ability. He's very like his ball pressure is one of the best in college basketball. They have him getting up onto the other team's point guards, and he does a very good job at 6'4" guarding from that point guard spot to the 3. And I feel like whoever gets him in that top 4 spot, because I don't see him dropping more than the top 4, I feel like he's definitely going to have that impact right away on the defensive end. I would like to see him out of that top 4 right now. I'd like to see him in OKC because I feel like he'd be a very good complementary piece to Shea. And yeah, whatever you guys want to add to that.
I'm excited to watch him play in person on Thursday at IU. He is so unique, and what's his improvement freshman to sophomore year was unreal. I mean, you could see it end of his freshman year, starting in Big Ten conference play last year. He started leading Purdue, started scoring like 10, 12, 15 a game. And this year he's just exploded on the scene, and his athleticism, the Big Ten has some good wings, and it's more of a big dominated league, but there are good wings, and he is just on another level. He is out athleticisms everyone, and his 3-point shooting has gotten a lot better. Last year, that was like his biggest weakness. You could sag off like 2 feet, and then you could stop him from driving because you had that space. Now you have to guard him. Like he can take those shots, and that the whole Purdue team this year is a really exciting team. So I'm excited to see him in person on Thursday. And unfortunately, I feel like he's going to have a big game.
I'm gonna just say his stats really quick. He's averaging 16.3 points per game on 3.1 assists, 4 or 5 rebounds per game, and he's shooting 43.6% compared to 25 from last year. So that definitely has increased, and 50% from the field. So he's playing very efficiently.
What's his free throw?
72. That hasn't changed. He was 72.6 last year.
That's honestly though, like for me, whenever I watch, like I watched a lot of the U19 team, and I like him and Chet were just awesome. Both of those guys were out there doing their thing. Like they really impacted the game. Like Jaden would get the ball and he would go. Like he was a freak athlete going up and down the floor. He pressured defensively, really caused havoc. Um, he basically was like, "Hey, I'm like gonna be the best guard for in this tournament." Kind of like he dominated. He has a swagger about him. That's something that I really like whenever I've seen him play. Um, I'm also excited to see him in person. I think he's gonna have a great game. I'm excited to see their bigs too. But yeah,
I feel like he also has like a calmness about him on the offensive end.
yeah, he's
Like
not rushed.
I feel like a lot of like those type of athletes, like they just try to get down in the lane, make a play quick, but he's not forcing anything. He's gonna move the ball. He's like that's where I got that DeJounte Murray type of feel from him, was just his calmness on the offensive end, getting other people their shots.
Yeah, he's a really good player. I'm all about it. I think it'd be an awesome pick for anyone in the lottery.
Oh yeah.
Rob, all you.
All right. Well, the guy I'm going for is Johnny Davis out of Wisconsin, and that's just because this he's National Player of the Year right now in college basketball. And it's unanimous in my opinion. He's averaging 25 or sorry, he's averaging 21 a game, and recently he has been tearing it up in Big Ten play, just absolutely dominating. His last three Big Ten games, if you don't include the Ohio State game, he scored 37 against Purdue, 26 against Iowa, and 19 against Maryland. So he is just dominating. He's been really, really good lately. And what I really like about him is he could score at all three levels. He could score off the dribble. He could score mid-range. He could score from three. He can score pretty much anywhere. And he plays a lot of minutes too, which is good for the NBA because he's can show that he can play those high volume of minutes. His last 5 games, he's played 34 minutes, 37 minutes, 35 minutes, 38, and then in an overtime game, he played 43. And he's honestly been the reason why Wisconsin has turned into the beast that they have this year. Wisconsin wasn't supposed to be very good this year, and they've become one of the best teams in the nation. They're 14-2, and they have a lot of really good wins. And in those wins, Johnny Davis is the one who's performing really, really well. They rely on him heavily. And just to go off some big games, Houston, when they were ranked 12th in the nation, fully healthy, he scored 30 points. Marquette, he scored 25. Against IU, scored 23. Against Purdue, at Purdue, scores 37. And then against Iowa, he scores 26. Against Texas A&M, he scored 21. He's just a winner, and he's a really good player. I really like his game. He's decent on the defense. He's not I would say a plus defender, but he's not a minus defender. So he's not a liability on that end. And he just really is a really rounded player. And going from averaging 7 points a game to 22 in the next season is a huge jump. He's shooting 39% from three this year. He's shooting 81 from the free throw line, averaging 8 boards a game. I think you could slot him as a small ball three. You could put him as a primary ball handler, but he's probably going to fit best as a secondary ball handler coming off the wing. I just love his game all around. And I think he has the potential. He'll probably be like 7-14 late lottery. And I think that's just because his athleticism isn't off the charts and he isn't just a lockdown defender, but he's really talented on the offensive end. I think he'll be a great bench guy wherever he goes for his first year.
To add on to that, watching him play, he has like the size and length to potentially be a really good 1 through 3 defender, like somebody that you can put on the floor and he could be a plus. That's what I see at least. But he's not an athlete. Like he's not a freak athlete, like you said, which might hurt that potential a little bit, like depending on who you are, how you see it. But for me, he's the high he jump the highest in every mock draft basically. Like he went from undrafted to a lottery pick. Like that's what, the dude's been putting on shows. His jumper looks smooth. He's a He's able to do it himself. He's able to play off of people, which like being able to do it in a variety of ways offensively, I think looks really good. And somebody that you can plug in play any team that could pick him up in the draft. So it's like his value is so high because he fits basically every system. Every system could have a version of him. And if he grows as a defender over his like first 2 or 3 seasons, and he turns into somebody that can use his strength and his length on the perimeter to be some physical wing, he could be a great 3-and-D addition for any team.
Yeah, his mechanics on his shot are really, really pretty.
So smooth. So smooth.
Yeah, he gets a lot of elevation. He releases at the high point. He gets really good rotation on the ball. It is a little bit slow, but he creates so much space and he's so good at using his body that it doesn't matter. He doesn't need to have a Steph Curry release or Klay Thompson type release. He can get away with it and be fine. And
100%.
really, I mean, he's shooting a high percentage from three, but you also got to look at the type of threes he's taking. He's not going to be taking these types of threes on an NBA. He's not going to be the guy that's going to be shooting at the last second of shot clock, like last option contested off the dribble. That's not going to be his role. And I don't have the stat on me, but just from eye test, when he's catch and shoot, he's automatic. So if you put him in a spot where he's coming off of some flare screens or coming off of a pin down, like he will do really well. And I think, like you said, I think his ability to play in any system is what's going to be so valuable too. Is that you will be able to draft him and play him right away. Like he's not going to have a huge learning curve. Like he's there.
Yeah. Josh, you got anything to add?
I have not watched much of him, so I don't want to like say anything wrong. But from what I've seen, you guys are correct with his jump shot. That's one thing that I really like about him. I've only seen highlights. That's basically it though.
Fair enough. But so on to our first round guys that are out. Like for me, mine is kind of like lottery borderline, depending on how he continues to play. But one of you guys go first.
Okay, I'll go. So I was going to talk about him, then I wasn't, but now I'm going to talk about him just because I love his game so much, and his range is varying right now at least. But I'm going to talk about Tai Tai Washington. He's another guy that's just like his calmness on the offensive end is like he's going to be very, very good at the next level. I feel like he's going to need a few years to kind of get the feel for the NBA speed and everything. Coming in, he did struggle a little bit at Kentucky at the start of the year, but now he's finding his groove. He's playing very well. He just came off a 28-point game yesterday against Tennessee. He's shooting 41% from three, 51% from the field. He now has the highest assist game in Kentucky history with 17 last week. He's really doing it all. He's been playing more off ball with Syver Wheeler at their point guard, but he has gotten plays at the point guard spot, which is what he's going to be in the league when they're giving Wheeler rest, and that like he doesn't have any drop off. He's not going to force anything. He's going to both look for his teammates and for himself. He's really calm on the offensive end, like I said, and that's about it.
How tall is he?
6'3".
That's what he's gonna be a good, like really good point.
Yeah, he's got length.
Yeah,
that's another. He's defensively, like right now, he's a solid defender. He's nothing crazy, but his length is like he's 6'3" and he probably has like 6'7" wingspan, 6'7", 6'8". Like he has a very, very long wingspan.
That's what he like watching him play with you. Like he's the one guy, other than Big O, that I sit there and I'm like, he could play. Like I really like, huh?
I don't want to like change the topic, but Big O is projected like 58th.
That's what. All right, I know the NBA like with bigs and stuff, it's weird, but like that guy could play. But all right, back to Tai Tai. Like Tai Tai it's like that Jaden Ivey, but he's not at that like next level to me at least. When I watch them play, like I think that they're very similar.
He doesn't have that athleticism.
Yeah, it's like style of play though.
He could shoot better, but he's not at that athleticism.
But I like his game. I could see him really helping out wherever he goes to. It's somebody that like if he lands outside of the lottery, that's a win. Because I think his game is he's one of the best point guards in this draft, and I don't think that there's much downside to him. Like his floor is really high, and I think his ceiling is kind of unknown because I think he has so many areas he can grow still that he's going to be a really good pickup for wherever he ends up going.
Another thing that I want to add to that quick before Rob goes, that I forgot to say was his mid-range game. That's where like his mid-range game is probably his best offensive uh part of his offensive game. Like when he's coming off pick and rolls, he does a very, very good job of getting his feet down before he rises up. And that allows like that makes the defense come out to him and be scared of that shot because he shoots it at such a high clip that he's been able to get Big O on a roll or get someone else on the perimeter. And yeah, that's so Rob.
Yeah, I like Tai Tai a lot. I think he's really good. His Kentucky kind of correlates to how he does. Whenever he has a good game, Kentucky has a good game. When they lost to LSU, he only had 5 points, and when Kentucky lost to LSU, they Tai Tai only had 5 points. And I think that he started the year off slow, and I think that was just coming in as a freshman with high expectations. And Kentucky played at the start of their first couple games. They had a tough schedule. I know they played Duke at the beginning of the year, so that's tough for an 18-year-old kid to get thrown into in those situations. But he's coming into himself, and I think he's doing really well. And I want to know, Josh, do you think that if CJ Frederick was healthy and playing, if Tai Tai would be starting and doing well right now? Because I think CJ starts originally over him.
I think he still starts. I just feel like I think that would actually help Tai Tai because right now it's like they have Grady, obviously. Like they still have that shooter guy, like that shooter that they go to a lot. But I think Frederick just gives them that more spacing that helps him get those driving lanes, gets to the rim, get those mid-range pull-ups and the kickouts too to Fredericks, who shoots at an insanely high clip. I feel like that would just take them to another level.
I'm gonna add to that. So this might like turn into like offensive philosophy a little bit, but for somebody like a Tai Tai, like bringing up Jaden Ivey from before, like the more like you can add, I think like they would just prosper more the more like you because they have Grady, and then if CJ Frederick played, I think Kentucky would have probably a top 2 or 3 offense. Like honestly,
They have one right now. They have
that's what. Yeah.
number 3 or 4 offense.
Okay, so like it adds up. Like you had somebody that can shoot at that clip. Like that's
a scary thing. That's what I was thinking of. Like
that's what over Christmas we were like if we had CJ.
yeah, we had CJ Fredericks. Like that's but at the same time we got him next year. So like we're losing Grady, got him next year. But if you plugged him into this offense, I feel because I was gonna this little foreshadowing, but they run Grady off a lot of floppy actions, and I feel like just giving Grady that rest and CJ Fredericks, he's not only a shooter though, like he's not going to turn the ball over. He's going to be very smart. He's going to get other players where they need to be. He's a junior, right? Yeah, he's a junior right now. So he has all that experience in Big Ten basketball. I feel like Grady struggled at the beginning of the year, just getting used to the speed from being at Davidson, now going to a Power 5 school. But I feel that would be the only part that like they would have been a top offense all year instead of like now they're blossoming into that insanely good offense. But Cal has never had a shooting team like this. And if you plugged in another 50% shooter from 3, it would just he would have fun with that.
Kentucky's offense is good. They're really good. I think the only downside of Kentucky right now is their defense, but they'll figure it out. I think it's the SEC. It's Auburn and Kentucky. Those are the 2 teams, and Kentucky should be 3 now, right? Next Monday. I know we're getting off NBA talk. We'll get back to that.
They should be what?
They should be 3, right? It should be Auburn 1, Gonzaga 2, and then Kentucky 3.
No, they'll be like 13 because they lost last week to LSU. So they dropped. They were up at like 13, so they would have been up. They would have been up there.
They picked that 30-point win over Tennessee, though.
That's big. That's big for resume. Okay, Jacob, you got it.
On to the
Yep.
next one. I want Rob go with your first rounder.
All right. Well, so my guy's Keegan Murray, and stick with the Big Ten theme. And he's some places have him projected to go in the lottery. Some have him going like in the 20s. Some have him going like 16 to 20. So I think a lot of that has to deal with the fact that he's going to be kind of a guy that they draft off of not a need, but there's a lot of players that are similar type to him in the NBA. A long athletic wing who can score. And I think that if certain NBA teams are looking for something different, they'll pass. But if they're looking for that, he could get into the lottery. I think this year he's been phenomenal. He's another guy like Johnny Davis, where just huge scoring up. Like his stats have just gotten so much better this year. He's gone up to 24 points a game from 7, and he's just played like amazing. And then conference, he's averaging 24 a game, which is like that matters. Like playing against good competition. He's been he scores off the dribble. He can score from 3, and he's another guy. He moves really well off the ball, and that's where I really like him. Is that he never is just standing still like in the corner waiting for something. Like he's always moving. He draws so much gravity from the defense because he's cutting, which opens up other things for Iowa. And Iowa, similar to Wisconsin, they had no expectations to be anything this season. They lost so much. They lost Luka Garza. They lost Wisekamp. They lost Frederick. They lost their 3 top scorers, and Keegan Murray stepped up and has filled that role. And he rebounds well, and they're playing him as a small ball center basically right now at 6'8", which he will not be playing in the NBA. Like I don't think he's even going to play. Like he can maybe play small ball 4, but he's going to be like a wing. He's going to play on the wing. If you're having him post up, you're taking away his best part of his game, which is driving to the basket, hitting 3-point shots. He's a little bit skinny at 210 pounds at 6'8", so you kind of want him to bump up to like 220 from there. He's okay on the defensive end. Again, like he's not a minus defender, but you're not drafting him for his defensive abilities. You're drafting him because he can score. He will spread the floor. He's confident with the ball. He doesn't turn it over. He has the ball. His usage rate is insanely high, and he only averages 0.6 turnovers a game. Iowa is the fastest team in the country on KenPom, and they only average 8 turnovers a game, and that's mainly because they have the ball in Keegan Murray's hands, and he doesn't turn it over. He's smart with it.
I really like his game. Him along with your lottery pick. Why am I blanking? The Wisconsin kid. Yeah, Davis. They both have that similar game where a lot of it's very smooth. They're smart with it. They both have really good size. And I do think that Murray will add weight, which I think is like one of his main like issues right now, but he's also playing like small ball 5. So like it's like a weird situation, but I really like his game. You said it really well, how he could fit a variety of systems, and if you need him, you'll pick him. If you don't, you don't. Like he's going to be a very draftable guy, and he could slip in the lottery if he continues to play how he plays and he puts up these numbers and he just looks like so composed and so like 8 steps ahead almost. Like it's hard not to pick someone like that. So, yeah.
I feel like he'll definitely be a solid defender too. Like he's gonna put his all out there. Like he's gonna like right now, like you said, they had him at small ball center, which it's not really like kind of takes away from what he could do like defensively. But he's not. It's not like he's doing bad though. Like
Oh
he
no.
could, yeah. Like he's gonna be a very solid player for whoever drafts him. Like you guys said it all.
Well, that's in Iowa's system with that they spread you out, and that's what killed Indiana was that we had Trace, who is a terrific interior defender, one of the best rim protectors in the league, standing 25 feet away from the basket, and he was just able to drive by him. He didn't score that many points, but his brother, who's like his twin brother's like the same player, dropped 30, and he's had games. Keegan's had many games like that where he draws a 7-footer out away from the basket, and that's what he does. He could dominate like that, and and in Iowa's system, they care way more about the offense. Look, Fran McCaffrey is not a defensive coach; he is an offensive mind. He's a genius on offense. Defense, he takes the hits on that he has 5 guys who can shoot and are offensive studs that aren't really defensive players. But I think he has been okay on defense. I think that get tournament time, if he goes against a guy like Oscar Tshiebwe or when he plays against Kofi Cockburn, I think that I don't know what I was going to do in those situations because he won't be able to guard. Like they will get 15 offensive boards each.
They're gonna have to like.
They have a Serbian guy, I think his name is Rebreka, and he guards a lot of the centers on the defensive end. But still, you'll find some when you get into the tournament or later in conference play. I think that the way they're going to attack Keegan is to try to get him in foul trouble, and that's what Indiana did. He almost fouled. He had 4 fouls with like 13 left to go in the second half. So he's going to have to play smart that way. But I really like his game. I think that he's the guy that has. He reminds me a little bit of Mikal Bridges. Not like it's not like for like comparison, but like that long, lengthy, athletic wing. I think that he's a guy that his ceiling may not be as high as a lot of guys in the draft, but his floor is like no matter you're not going to draft a guy that's going to be a bust. Like he's going to give you production.
That's he'll be a really good pickup for wherever he goes.
Yeah, and he's one of those guys, Josh, that like that if he gets picked in on a team that was on the bubble or like a 10 seed, 11 seed, he could be a guy, that piece that bumps them into the 8 seed, 7 seed for playoffs.
So for me, I went with Dyson Daniels. He is on the G League Ignite. He's a 6'6", 200-pound guard. He is from Australia. He's averaging 11.3 points per game, 4.4 assists, 5.9 rebounds, and he's very active defensively, good length, averaging nearly 2 steals a game. His shooting splits are 44.9 from the field, 25 from 3, 73 from the free throw line. His effective field goal percentage is 50, but all right, so just saying all of that, he started off really slow. He wasn't comfortable yet with the system, and you can just tell he was like really thinking through things. But during the showcase, those were his stats during the showcase, and he's kind of like flipped the switch. He got comfortable. To me, if I had to say like a comparison, I really want to say slow-mo with gears. So Kyle Anderson, but he got like when he wants to go, he'll go a lot faster than Kyle Anderson. He's a really good feel, IQ. He'll go at his speed. So like I also wanted to say Joe Ingles, but I didn't want to because of the Australian thing. But he's a big guard with great feel. I think his jumper is solid. His numbers aren't there to say that he's a solid jump shooter, but I think he shoots a set shot, so it's a good form. He has a nice release. I think he's just getting more comfortable with the range now. And I think over time he'll be a 35, like he'll be an NBA average 3-point shooter at least by the time he gets into the flow with it. But offensively, it's playmaking and at the rim. That's where he thrives. So he'll get downhill. He's a really good primary ball handler for them. Even like he's able to do it primary and secondary, where depending on who's in the lineup and stuff. So his size, his strength, he gets in the lane. He's able to make physical plays through contact. He has a nice floater. His touch around the rim is some of the best I think I've seen out of like the guys I've watched in this draft class. He's really good when he gets down there. And being 6'6" with crazy length, it helps. So he's able to finish through or around the bigs. And as a playmaker, his assist to turnover ratio is almost 2. So it's like almost perfect. Anything that you could ask for. It's 1.85 right now. He delivers the ball on time, on target. He knows where the ball should go. He's not afraid to be a ball mover where he's not trying to put it on the ground, make a play. Instead, he's like, hey, if you're coming off a floppy, I'm going to hit you if you're open. Like, he keeps it simple. He, as a playmaker, the only time that I think like he struggles is if he gets downhill and he might be out of control a little bit. He's only 18 years old. So like sometimes figuring out and learning curves against pros is going to be a little bit tougher, but most of the time he's making smart under control decisions, landing on 2 in the paint, kicking out, and he's really solid as an offensive player. But I think defensively is where he's unique. His defensive rating is a 97, which is kind of absurd. His size, his length, he's a good athlete. He's able to guard. Honestly, potentially, I think he could guard 1 through 4, and then depending on who the 5 is in the game, being with his size, his length, he could really get into guys and pressure and just be disruptive. In the Ignite system, they ice a lot of ball screens and down. So in ball screens, you can see he gets killed by the screen sometimes in those situations because of coverage, but I think he's better than what you see through film in ball screen situations defensively. As a one-on-one defender, he can probably improve his slide and stance, but his size and length and athleticism could kind of be a bridge for that and give him some leeway to like learn a little bit. His feel and understanding is really solid as a defender. Like he's in position most of the time. He knows what to do. He puts himself in spots to be successful as a defender, and he has the tools to be a really good defender at the next level. He can test shots. He flies around. He can protect the paint with his strength. He's caught in post up sometimes, and he does a really good job in those situations. But overall, like I enjoyed watching his film, studying for this podcast. Like he's one of those Ignite guys that I think can come in and really make an impact. And I like his game a lot. The only issue I think is that it needs to be a team that needs a playmaker, like somebody to come in and relieve offense and make plays. So I don't know exactly who that is or what fit that'll be depending on where teams are at the end of the season, but he'll be a really good pickup for anyone. I don't know if either of you have watched him.
I have not watched much of him, but I did watch a little bit. A little bit of the Ignite to watch Jaden Hardy, and that the young kid. What's his Scoot Henderson.
Scoot,
Trying to watch them, but he is a very smart player. Like from the sample size that I've watched, and for him being 18 years old and being that smart, I feel like the shot will come. Like he's young right now.
Yeah. Honestly, the weirdest part was like when I saw he was born in 2003, I was like, oh my God, I'm old.
I saw that. I was like, yo, he's my age.
That's what, dude. I was, oh my God. But he's playing really good. I think he's honestly, so like with those 2 guys that you brought up, those 2 guys have like insane skill and the potential is like insane. I think like he's the guy on the team, like role wise, that kind of like he like rallies the troops. He keeps everybody calm, composed, which is awesome for his age. Like he's able to come in there and really like control the tempo, control the pace, make sure everybody's in the right spots, under control. And like you don't see that much from an 18-year-old. You see the other guys. You see the Scoot Hendersons just like and Grady's going crazy, like just doing insanely highly skilled things that did I say his name wrong?
It's Hardy, not Grady.
Hardy. I suck with this. Hardy. Like their skill set, like you just see them explode all the time. Like they'll do crazy things that you're just like, dang, the skill set on him is insane. But sometimes he's out of control. Sometimes he needs to work on this. And then most of like the big thing for Daniels, I think that will really impress teams is just how good of a defender he is. Like a 97 defensive rating for an individual defender is something you don't see. Like unless if you play like 2 minutes every like 4 games in the NBA and you get a stop that one time you're guarding someone, which is it's crazy. He's a big time guy, and I think this Ignite team has more. I don't want to say more talent than last year, but I want to say that they all have like a higher floor than last year. Because even Kaminga last year, I think Kaminga was such a variable because you weren't sure what you were getting, you know?
I feel like Hardy's kind of the same way though. Like he's a lot more polished than Kaminga is. Like right now for being that same age as Kaminga was last year. But at the same time, I feel like he's still needs a lot of work. Like he's still, it is as his age. Like that's the issue. Like they're all young. Like we can't say what they are right now. But I don't know what I'm trying. Like Hardy is like his ceiling. I feel like is a lot higher than. But I feel like his flair. That's the one guy. But everyone else, you are correct with that. Like it's a lot more. Like I just feel like Hardy's like the one guy that's like you don't know what you're gonna get, but at the same time, he's just you can't pass up on that type of skill.
That's what last year you had Green and Kaminga, and then everyone else you were like, I'm not even sure what the floor is, you know? But then you have guys this year like Daniels, and they have like 4 guys projected in the first round, which like last year it was just the 2 guys in the lottery and maybe Isaiah Todd that was like borderline a first rounder.
If Scoot Henderson could come, he'd be a lottery pick.
That's what Scoot would be a top 3 pick, like how people are talking about the kid. But like, the to have somebody like Dyson Daniel that can come in and really be like a presence and an impact guy that could really relieve offense and make plays defensively. And his size and length, I think, really are tools that could really give him leeway to screw up early and be in like experiment, try things and continue to grow, which I think is a big plus. So yeah, I don't know.
Another thing I wanted to say though is like it's just like the international guys, like them coming in, like that's where the IQ comes. Like it's not a coincidence. Like that's just the overseas system is like they get them ready for this type of stuff. That's just
another comp I had for him was honestly Josh Giddey, but I didn't want to like throw Australian guys out there.
I could see just because him being more of a guard.
Yeah,
I could see
like
that.
a big guard. Literally, like he's a massive point guard, 6'6", 200 pound, like, and he's strong. The dude is strong. Like in post ups, like guarding other 4s and 5s, like he did a good job walling up, not giving them much ground. He did a really good job. But now to move on, who wants to start with their like? I called it a wild card.
I'll go. So I have like a lot of people in mind, and I don't want to go with 2 straight Kentucky guys. So I'm going to talk about Scottie Pippen Jr. I feel like he has a very, very high upside. Like right now, his only issue I feel is he's very spotty shooting wise, but also that comes in with him being like the only guy on Vanderbilt. His playmaking is very good. Like he's offensively, he is a very, very, very talented player. He's just gotten better over the years. His age is a little like he's older, so like he doesn't have that luxury of saying he's young, so he'll figure it out. But I'm surprised that he's projected mid-second round. I'm surprised by that. I feel like that just is with the shooting percentage because he's shooting 31%, which I'm shocked by. It's just he's very spotty. Like some games he'll come in 8 for 10 from 3, and in another game he'll be 3 for 12, 3 for 15. But his usage is very high, just because of them being like such a mediocre team. But they're 10-6 right now with him, which is kind of crazy. Like he's like kind of carrying the team he has over the past 3 years. Defensively, he's kind of scary because he'll try, like he's gonna try, but he's like very small. He's not a crazy athlete like other people, but he's going to put that effort in. And that's really, I feel like he could be like a very, very, very good point guard in the NBA.
Where do you think he lands, like range, like a second rounder?
Yeah, it also all depends on what team he lands on. Like if he's gonna, he'll probably be G League first year or two, but I feel like he could definitely work his way up to being that backup point guard and coming in and giving like a campaign type of like spark plug to a team.
One thing too about this year's draft, there's two there's two less picks, which is rough on the draftees. So
It's the from what I saw from the second round, it's a ton of guys with like that could be very good, like good shooters, good play, like that you just don't know where they're gonna fit.
yeah,
Like Drew Timmy, like I saw him projected second round. Like you don't know how he's gonna fit into an NBA team just because he's a primary post player. He's not very good laterally on the defensive end, but he's so skilled in that post that like you really can't pass up on that.
Yeah. Well, when you get into the second round like this, it's you're taking trade-offs.
Yeah.
You're either drafting a guy for like totally untapped potential, or you drafting a guy who you know his strengths and his weaknesses, and you have a system that his strengths will be used better and his weaknesses will be hidden a little bit more if your system does that. But I really like Scottie Pippen. I watched him play against Arkansas. I wasn't there, but I watched it on TV. And he got the ball in the low post, and he had a 6'9" guy guarding him. I think he's like 6'5", 6'6", something like that.
Scottie Pippen, he's 6'3".
6'3". Okay, yeah. So even more impressive. That catches the ball on the low block, turns around, hits a post fadeaway shot with a 6'9" guarding him.
Right.
And it was in the clutch. It was like, I think it was like 80-79 at the point. Vanderbilt was up. Vanderbilt ends up winning the game. And honestly, that Vanderbilt team is not good. They are really, really. Scottie Pippen's the only guy there that like has any talent, honestly. Like on that team, and they're 10-6, and they've beaten teams like Arkansas, which is because of Scottie Pippen Jr. So I like his game too. What you said is perfect assessment of him. And a little bit off topic. Have you guys seen Vanderbilt's court? How weird it is.
the stadium's so weird. Like the whole setup is just so different.
It's on the baseline.
From the base, you substitute, and you have to run up the baseline. Like it's so weird. That like I have no, and like the cheerleaders are sitting down like where the coaches and the bench is supposed to be. It's the strangest setup, and you would think for such an academically prestigious school that they would like figure out how to make a normal basketball stadium. But I hate it. I can't watch it. Yeah, that this is my rant for you, Jacob. Random basketball rant. I hate Minnesota's basketball court, and I hate the elevated courts, and I hate Vanderbilt's courts. It's stupid. I don't know why they do that. No one likes it. Everyone hates it. It's aesthetically not pleasing. It bothers me. It's just awful. It's awful.
How do you feel about like Final Four?
I hate the elevated. Who was it in like 2016? Like I'm forgetting, but I think it was like someone on Louisville went flying off the edge and like couldn't come back in the game. It was like, well, it's stupid. It's
I know what you're talking about.
Basketball courts aren't meant to be elevated. They're like that's so I hate it so much, and it's like so weird because like you're looking at the bench and the courts at like their chest. It looks like they're little kids at like a table. It's like strange. I hate it. And then imagine being a coach at Vanderbilt when your team is all the way down on the other. But how are you supposed to even yell to are the refs supposed to turn around to look if you're going to call a timeout? Like it's the stupidest thing.
They let them go up the sideline.
It's just I hate it. I hate.
But then you're far from your staff. You're far from your players. Like what?
Yeah, that's the
yeah. You that's turn the around and call your players. Like it's stupid. I don't understand why they do it, and I don't understand. Like I don't. It's just dumb. It's just dumb.
All right, who's a wild card for you?
A wild card for okay. So I kind of have a theme right now. It's big wings who shoot the ball. So for me, it's Julian Champagny.
He's one of mine.
St. John's. And so, I mean, he shot 32% his freshman year, 38 from three, 32% from three, 38% from three, and then this year he's shooting 41% from three, and he's 6'9". It's like 220. He is just such a unique player. And his release, it's a little low for being that tall, which surprised me when I watched him in person. But when he scored 30 against Indiana, and then like he's been on my radar all season, and like big games, he scores like 26 points, he gets like 15 boards, like he just dominates. So he's one of those guys that you're like, how is he like not projected to be a first round pick? Like that makes no sense to me. And it comes, I guess, from the defensive end. He is not great laterally, but then at the same time, I think you could put him as a four and he can guard a post spot and be fine. Like he is big. He doesn't jump out of the gym. He's not like that type. I guess he's not a great playmaker on the offensive end. Like he can go get his buckets. Um, I'm looking at he does average quite a bit of turnovers a game. He has 2 turnovers a game, which that's not great from a guy who isn't having the ball, as in like he's not bringing the ball up the court. So that's something that you can be worried about. But I mean, he shoots 7 threes a game in college. He makes 3, which is like that's really high volume. I don't know what it is, but that's got to be up there for college leaders and amount of threes taken the game. Not that many guys in college take 7 3-point attempts a game. So I think I like his game a lot. And I think he's another guy, not similar to Johnny Davis and Keegan Murray, where like you have the ceiling isn't like insanely high, but the floor, like you want. But I think he's the guy that you can draft in the second round and or late first round, and he will make an instant impact. And I think he's really good. I love I mean 6'9" guys that are that stocky that can shoot that consistently, like that's rare. And I think you take him and you roll the dice with that, and you can figure out how to scheme him out of his weaknesses on the defensive side or on the offensive side. And I think that at St. John's, he's a guy that he has relied on so hard. It's him and Posh and no one else on that team. So if you put him with some other guys where he doesn't have to be the guy that takes 7 threes a game and he only takes, say, 5 threes a game, but they're all good shots, I think he could easily shoot 45% in the NBA. Like I think he takes deep threes too. I think I just love his game, really. I really do. And he steps up for big games too. And St. John's was on COVID pause for a while, which was frustrating because they missed a game against Georgetown and against Seton Hall, which would have been really good games to watch him play at. So we'll see how he does throughout the rest of the year. He's definitely a guy where if he falls off, he can even fall to undrafted. But if he plays well, I could see him reaching late first round status. I think right now, most of the mock drafts I saw, he was like pick 35 to 40 was where I was seeing him around. I saw one that had him at 28. So some have him going first round, but most have him in second.
You said it, like you said it all. He's someone that could genuinely come in and shoot it for you and bring an impact. And I know like he's iffy around the edges and it's a little rough, but like he's someone that he has such a big role right now at St. John's that if that role gets like cut down a little bit and he has less pressure on him to like make plays with the ball in his hands and less pressure to be like a 20 some point per game scorer, like, and he just goes out there and hit open threes, man. Like just run around, find space, knock them down, and then defensively, like just do your job. Whatever the scheme is, whatever we need you to do, just do it. Like if you simplify it to a 3-and-D guy, he could. I think he has really good potential to be one of the premier 3-and-D wings that could do stuff at a high level. But for me, I have a whole list, so I'm gonna just like I have 5 guys. I'm gonna rattle it off, and then I don't know which one I'm going to talk about, but I got the Purdue front court. So Zach Edey, Travion Williams, they are both incredible in their own ways. Julian Champagne, he was on my list. Jimmy Hakias Jr. from UCLA. And my real wild card is Tamar Bates. So I don't know which one you guys want me to talk about. Talk about Tamar?
Yes.
I am I'm all on, like, I guess seeing him play in person is the big reason why I am so high on Tamar. His numbers aren't anything crazy. It's not any of that, but he's a 6'6" wing that has decent handle. He's just improved over time since he's only a freshman, improving basically game by game. He's able to do it defensively. Offensively, he does his job. But for me, the big thing that I put him on this list for is the little things. Like when you see him in person and he's the loudest person on the floor by all means necessary, like that is something that is unique and special and needs to be like genuinely valued. He does the little things. He'll talk, he'll communicate, he'll be in position, he'll try to take a charge, he'll move the ball. If somebody screws up, he holds them accountable. If he screws up, he'll go straight to Coach Woodson and be like, hey, what could I do to be better? Like his accountability, he was the first one. So every game I have to go for my job, help set up, make sure everything's good in the premium areas, like before the guys even are supposed to be there to warm up. And he's out there shooting every time. Like there's something special to this kid. And I think over time, even the stories from being able to work at IMG over the summer, the guy, everybody says that he was the hardest working guy that's been at the academy and nobody knows how long. Like always in the gym rat, just trying to grow, develop. Rob even said when he went to the Bahamas to see IU play, like the guy was working out all the time. And he's a special talent with a special work ethic. And if he has the ability to go to the draft this year, if he shows like improvements and continues to put up better and better numbers and that opportunity arises, I think it'd be stupid for him to stay in college. He's insane talent. The guy deserves. He's gonna just grow. He has a ceiling that I think is potentially like. I, I don't like you don't find guys with this work ethic and this like the little things that he does. It's so special and unique that I don't even know what the ceiling could be for him. I'm not gonna say like an all NBA talent, but like I don't think it's far fetched to say that. Like I don't see like I see special things for him down the road, and I don't know if it's bias or whatever, but I just really like his game. I like his attitude. I like his work ethic, and he's special. He's special.
I saw that firsthand last year being at IMG. Him and Musa Diabate. Those two like always in the gym. I thought I would get to the gym early. Like I'd go like right when it opened, 7 a.m. in the morning. And to get shots up before practice, they were already in there, full sweat, getting a workout in with another coach. Um, like that work ethic, and then not only that, just his personality, his winning personality. Uh, he was always the leader of that team, and you could see that in college. He doesn't get he gets 15 minutes or 16 minutes per game, and he's doing a lot with that 16 minutes. I feel his shooting percentage that's not something to worry about. He's got a solid stroke. I feel like his usage isn't very high right now in college, but he's doing the little things, like you said. Like he's gonna work his butt off on defense. He's gonna do whatever the team needs to win the game. That's all he wants. Like he's a winner.
I have two things about Tamar. First, I'll go into that little story, Jacob, about Tamar. So I went down to the Bahamas to watch IU play a Serbian professional team for 2 games, and we were all staying in Atlantis. The basketball team was there too, and both teams were there. And my girlfriend and I, we were up in the casino after one of the games. IU just won, and we were at the casino, and we stayed up to 5 a.m. and we were gambling, having a good time. And we walked back by the ballroom where the basketball courts were, and at 5:30 a.m., there was Tamar Bates working out with a couple managers, getting a full sweat in, completely working his butt off. And it could have been so easy that it was right after a game. He could have taken the night off. I won't get into names, but the rest, a lot of players on his team, his teammates were in the casino with my girlfriend and I. We watched them play blackjack. They were table next to us. So he could have easily gone with his teammates and done that. But no, he was in the gym working out. He wasn't on the beach. He was working out, like getting his workout in. And I think that just speaks volumes to him. I hope he doesn't leave for the draft this year because I want him for another year. And really his struggles this year, is more so that Indiana is in a we need to win right now mode. Mike Woodson was brought in to IU to get into the tournament this year, and Tamar he makes freshman mistakes, and he's good defensively, but he overhelps and he jumps a lot and he's overly aggressive because he's trying. You can like see it, like he's trying so hard to make a play, to make an impact, that he does too much. Like you need, and I'd way rather have a guy that you need to take the motor back a notch than to get him going forward. But with IU right now, we need him to take it back a little bit. And he's had some. I as a fan, I notice I don't know him, but I know he's had some like personal stuff come up. I know his. I believe it was his uncle passed away recently, and so he missed a game for the funeral. And then I know he's missed some time with practice, and he's just had other issues going on. So I know that his recent struggles can be attributed to, I would say, off the court stuff. And I think Woodson is in a we need to win so badly right now mode that he isn't going to play Tamar through those struggles. And I personally don't agree with that. If I was Coach Woodson, I mean, I'm not, but if I was him, I'd be starting Tamar. I would have started him from day one. And I think it works better because what Woodson does in our scheme is that we sub in 5 guys and we go a full bench lineup. So Tamar is supposed to lead that bench, which is asking a lot out of him. I think he would have been way better served as coming in as the 5th option on coming in, sprinkle him in with starters, like have Trace and Race Thompson with him and have him playing instead of having him be the guy that's initiate the offense, has to create the shots, has to make space for himself. He has to shoot off the dribble. And I think that we've hit his numbers. I think that he is a much, much, much better player than what is showing right now. And I think he will continue to progress. And I think Monday he's going to have a big game against Nebraska. Last time he played Nebraska, he scored 11. And I think he's just one of those guys that you like draft off of personality and work ethic. Like he is, as you guys have said, and what I've seen, I've never, ever heard of a kid or seen a kid that works as hard as him. And you hear him talk on like radio shows, podcasts after games, and he's very well like spoken, and like you can tell how serious he is about basketball, that he doesn't like he's at Indiana not to like party. He is here to get better, to take the next step to get into the league. And I just think kids like that are rare and special, and I think he's going to be phenomenal, and I really hope he stays one more year.
So that is the Just Hoops Tamar Bates fan club right there, guys. Yeah, we all like.
It's hard not to like him.
We all have our own stories right there about how special this kid is. I hope like maybe somebody that has the power to like really look at this kid and genuinely like see what he's about at the next level. Like I hope that this could get to someone because he deserves it. He deserves the chance. But was that everybody's wild card? Or
Yeah.
Josh? Oh no, Josh went too. Yeah. So yeah, any like last comments besides starting a Tamar Bates fan club might be the next thing we do?
What do you guys think about Jabari Smith? Do you think he can be number 1 pick?
That's the Auburn guy, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he's probably.
I think he will. I think he's just like it's a toss up between him, Chet, and Picard.
I think it depends on fit. It depends on whoever gets one, whatever they need, and what situation they're in.
I feel like those are top 3.
Yeah.
Last night I was watching him play against Ole Miss, and I think it was 75-71. Ole Miss just made a little run. There was like 2 minutes left. Like crowd was going crazy. He gets the ball, goes in between the legs, gets in the middle of the paint, does it up and under, finishes with a left-hand floater outside the paint, basically, like off balance. And like I was like, wow, like that is like that move. I was like so impressed, and he's so composed. I love Jabari Smith. I think Auburn is right now my national title pick. If I had to, I think they are the best team in college basketball right now. They're the best playing.
Shout out Zeb Jasper.
I love Bruce Pearl too. His energy is unreal, off the charts. He is crazy. I mean, he's had some off court or issues, not like players, like with like this following NCAA rules, but I think he is a great guy. But I mean, I listened to a podcast and like one of the at Tennessee, he got sanctions because he had recruits over for a barbecue. So it's like, yeah, it's against the rules, but on like the spectrum of like morals, like what's wrong with it? I mean,
Yeah.
because I don't know now with the recruiting rules since it's all different because of NIL, but grand scheme of things, if you're talking about paying kids hundreds of thousands of dollars or having them over for a barbecue, like one is way less worse than the other.
Yeah.
Them against Kentucky this weekend is going to be a big time game.
Huge.
That's going to be a big time game.
That's going to be, how many scouts do you think are there?
30.
Man.
Every team. If anyone doesn't have, because there's guys even on Auburn that like a guy who I was thinking about talking about was Walker Kessler. He's
going to be one of my wild cards.
Because I mean, the guy, he is really bad at fouling, but if he could stay on the court, the dude is. I mean, he's only shooting 16% from three, but anyone who watches can tell you that he will be able to shoot the ball a lot better than 16% from three. Like he has a nice stroke. He averages so many blocks, and sometimes he gets a little bit. I don't know what the word is, block happy, but he isn't like the second guy to leave the floor. Like he is like trying to predict when guys are going to go up for layups, and that just leads to fouls. But I think he's the guy that's special. And Kentucky has like their like 6 guys who could be in the NBA. I think Auburn probably has 4 guys that could be in the NBA. So if a team doesn't send a scout there, they're doing something wrong.
That's what I honestly was gonna say. 50 scouts probably. I was gonna say even like overseas people are probably showing.
Oh yeah,
that's.
You got people like Kellen Grady and Zeb Jasper, like those 2 guys. Like they'll be. I feel
they're
like
gonna make a lot of money somewhere. A lot of money.
Grady could definitely make an impact in the NBA just because he's shooting 50% over the last 10 games. Like his stroke is. I was gonna talk about him. That was gonna be the guy I was gonna pick for my wild card. But like how he gets his feet down, how like he's not gonna rush. They run him off. That's what I was saying. Like they run him off a ton of floppy actions, and he does a great job of using his body, getting contact on those, reading what the defender does, and just getting to that open spot, getting his feet down, rising up. Like his fundamentals of his jump shot are just like perfect. Like he gets his feet down, he rises up, he gets a lot of elevation.
That's what to go to the other guy you brought up, like Zep, man, from firsthand experience, that dude's a dog.
Yes,
that's somebody that I love him as a person. I love him as a player. Like everything about the guy.
He's my favorite player on Charleston last year, just because like that's how I want to play. Like that, like I'm gonna get up on you no matter what. You could be faster than me. I don't care. I'm gonna do what I got to do to stop you.
My NBA comp is Facu Campazzo. For Zep.
Really?
Yeah.
Just that like
the dog. Like him or Pat Bev. That's like it's like
no.
It's like that guy.
I feel like offensively it's more like spotty. Like he reminds me more Pat Bev on the offensive end.
Yeah. But
Campazzo can he can control the offense.
We might need to watch that game and break it down.
Oh, I'm down.
That would be
So, but
unless Kentucky loses, then we're not doing that.
But guys, that anything else or?
Yeah, I have one more comment. It's crazy. All the guys that we were talking about, it's crazy how basketball has changed in a sense, like the style of it. That we're talking about mainly guys that are positionless wings that can guard essentially 1 through 4, and all knockdown shots, and they're all like these guys that are high motor players that get their own shots, that can score at 3 levels, and then can also impact the floor defensively. I just think that's like you aren't seeing as many like Chris Paul. I mean, there's not many Chris Pauls, but you know what I'm saying. Like 2-point guards. You aren't saying, hey, you mentioned this earlier in the podcast, talking about how there's like no real dominant bigs that are getting drafted. I mean, like I think 15 years ago, Kofi
Kofi's the
Cockburn,
first pick in the draft.
Kofi
Yep.
and Big O, top 2.
and then I think a guy like Trace is picked
And
in
Trace,
the lottery.
Yeah.
So it's just I think it's so interesting, and like it's just awesome to see how basketball has just been changing. And I think like this draft class, I mean, all the guys we talked about, did we talk about one true point guard or one true center?
No.
We talked about wings pretty much
we
the
talked
whole
about, yeah.
time. So and that's what I mean. You look at the best players in the NBA. Most of them are wings who can guard multiple positions, who can score the ball at all 3 levels. So I just think that it's really fascinating to see how basketball has changed in that sense.
There's such a high value on versatility at both ends of the floor. That's what, like, the more versatile you are, the more things you can do at a really high level, the more value you bring to any team. So it's like, that's what, even listening to like Nick Nurse on a podcast, and he's like, hey, when I was in the G League, it was kind of like, hey, how could I make you more valuable? How could I get you a big contract? What do I need to do to make you even better? And most of the time it came down to, like, think of like Siakam. So Siakam comes in, he can't handle the ball. Like, okay, you dribble the ball now, like at a high level, you're going to be an all-star. Like, that's like literally like the little things like that, the more versatile, the more skills you have at a high level and continue to develop, like the skill in today's basketball world would make, I don't want to be like that, and like old heads are like, oh, 90s basketball, whatever, but like you look at any team in the NBA today and compare it to any team from the 90s or even early 2000s, it's night and day. Like the generational gap in skill has been insane to see, especially just how you were saying how the game's changed from bigs to now it's positionless shooting. Like that's just a more skilled game now than it was then. And it's crazy to think about.
That's like more teams are like, I feel like a lot of teams already have their like 1 and 2 or 1 and 5. Like the guys that they believe in to be those type of guys to control the game and be inside. So I feel like a lot of teams are like kind of chasing what the Suns have, and the like those wing players that could guard 1 through 4, 1 through 5, and on the other end they're amazing shooters. They're just smart with the game, and they're very like they bring that extra level to the team.
Yeah. Another thing with this draft class, man. Huh?
That's where the league is.
Yeah.
That's like you guys brought that up.
With the draft class in general, though, so deep. Like last year and this year, the depth is insane. Like there's guys that we've talked about that might go undrafted. That we're like that. It's insane to think about.
There'll definitely be that like Desmond Bain type player, late first round, early second round, that teams will find. We could talk about Desmond Bain.
But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode as we dove into something different, and we're going to be coming more consistently with pods.
Pod is back.
The pod is back. The holidays slowed us down a little bit, but we're back. We're ready to go. We got videos lined up for the next probably like 2 weeks where we got stuff coming. So thank you guys for listening. Hope you enjoyed, and we will catch you guys in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.